following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
So where did that weekend go? Good morning, how are you today? I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98FM's Dublin Talks, the mid-morning talk and phone-in show for Dublin, by Dublin, and about Dublin. Talking of Dublin, congratulations to the Dubs yesterday on a fairly significant victory over Meath. Great result, meh, of a match, really, to be honest. I was there. The rain didn't help either. But anyway, congratulations, 9 in a row for the Dubs. But now the fun begins over the next couple of weeks in the drive for 5. Can they do it? Next couple of weeks will tell. Anyway, well done. Congratulations to the Dublin team yesterday. Now, what have we got coming up on the programme today? Would you phone the police if you heard your neighbours having a domestic? Or would you mind your own business? Well, English politician Boris Johnson's neighbours did exactly that at the weekend when they heard a bust up on the house. But would you? We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. We'd also be talking to a guy that we did speak to on this programme before about the sort of abuse that he has suffered as a referee in soccer. And it has gotten so much that he has decided, I just couldn't be arsed with this. And he has basically packed it in as a result of the abuse that he has received as a ref, just for doing his job, refereeing soccer matches for young people, and he gets dog's abuse. And when somebody nearly punched him the other day, he said, enough already. I couldn't be bothered with this. We'll be talking to him a little bit later on. It's Monday, and we've Life Hack Monday coming up a little bit later on. I love this piece, actually, where we ask you to share with us little tips to make life that little bit better for all the rest of us. All that and much more between now and midday today. And live from Dublin City Centre, this is Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98FM's Dublin Talks. Now, every single one of you listening to the programme right now has been in this situation where you're at home some evening and you hear your neighbours having a domestic row. Maybe they're screaming at each other, doors being slammed, cups and plates being smashed. At what point do you turn around and say, enough is enough? I am calling the Gardaí. Well, domestic abuse campaigners in the UK have defended Boris Johnson's neighbours for calling the police when they heard a loud scream and banging from inside his flat. Police attended the flat that they share in the early hours of Friday following the row, but found no offences had taken place and the occupants were safe and well. But the neighbour, whose name is Tom Penn, insisted that they dialed 999 out of concern for the welfare and safety of those inside after they knocked on the door 3 times and did not get a response. Now, a string of experts, led by the UK charity Safe Lives, have said that while there is no evidence of domestic abuse in this instance, the neighbours did the right thing by contacting the authorities. A statement signed by 12 leading domestic abuse experts said, "The weekend has been full of comment about the relationship we have with our neighbours. It's not for us to judge what happens with anyone's relationship, but it is for all of us to take action if we are concerned about someone's safety." So we decided to talk to a woman who was in that position. And Sienna, your life was basically saved because a neighbour called the Gardaí.
Exactly, yeah. Now, I'm going back, say, 39 years ago, and I had 2 babies, and I thought, I wanted to get married, have babies, live happily ever after, as we all do. But he became very violent, and he became very violent. I just don't know why. He wasn't a drinker. He was just... He would just snap. But he got really snapped one evening. And he left me in a bad way. And only for a neighbour, I wouldn't be here now.
Really?
I would not be here, and my son was a year and a half, my daughter was 6 weeks old, and only for the neighbour. And I was taken off in the ambulance. The neighbour took the kids, and he was arrested, and that was the end of it.
And you're saying, okay, so during this incident, in which I assume he was being very violent, you were obviously screaming. The neighbour heard this, and they decided to take action.
They did, and what happened was, as a result of all this, I don't like going into the actual DE. I lost my hearing. I ended up then, they reckon, more than likely as a result of it, I had epilepsy, so it was very severe. But I was taken away. I vaguely remember being taken away, in the ambulance. But if it wasn't for them, I would have been dead.
Okay,
I would have just died.
Right, so these neighbours heard this, what is often described as a domestic disturbance. They heard what was going on from where you were living, and they decided to take it upon themselves to ring the guards.
They did, yeah. And
what I was about to say is only for them...
Only for them, I wouldn't be speaking to you, Adrian.
Wow.
And that is as true as God. And if I was in the same boat now and I heard there's something going on, I'd ring the guards. I would ring the guards, or,
Now, as I said, this conversation about the whole Boris Johnson thing on Friday, where he and his partner were having a row or whatever, and she, during the row, told him to get out of her flat and get off me and stuff like that. The neighbours decided that they were going to call the police. The police did come, did talk to everybody, did discover everything was grand, nobody harmed. A lot of people believe that they were sticking their nose in where it wasn't wanted.
Well, okay, Adrian, just say it was me back in the day, and I was screaming, "I got away from you," or something. And the police came, and it was just a simple argument. But that's only, I still speak to one of the neighbours, and only for them, I would be dead. And what I'm saying is, okay, that turned out, thank God, it was only a simple argument. But if it was different, would they not be glad?
Okay, your point being, no harm done if it didn't turn out to be physical abuse or whatever, that it was just a screaming row.
Okay, and the neighbours might look at them and say, well, they rang and they should have minded their own business. Okay, fair, we can all get over a look and whatever, but it could have gone the other way. The way it could have gone with me, because I would not be here, Adrian, only for that.
Wow, okay, right. So this is how it is important, because I'm very interested in a poll that we're running on our Twitter account, which is Dublin Talks 98FM on Twitter. And if you want to vote on this, please do. And the question we're asking is, after the Boris Johnson case of the weekend, would you call the Gardaí if you heard your neighbours fighting? Now, you, Sienna, are urging people to do so if they think that it is, a row more than, it's a little bit...
No, I don't mean call the guards if you hear a cup breaking or something, you know what I mean?
But if it sounds like a vicious row...
Sounds like a vicious row,
then call the guards. But anyway, so we asked this question, would you call the Gardaí if you heard your neighbours fighting?
By calling them, Adrian, you could be saving a life.
Well, interestingly, in our poll so far... 52%, it's very close now, but 52% are saying no, they wouldn't call the guards. So the majority of people are saying, no, I wouldn't call them.
Well, you see, I don't know. I suppose people are saying, well, you see, nowadays, stay out of it and all that. And as I said, I keep repeating myself, if they'd stayed out of it, my kids would never have known me and I would have been dead.
Okay, but that says it all. It really does. And obviously, you, in hindsight, were grateful to your neighbours for intervening.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
But stay there for 1 second, because I want to find out from you. Have you ever call the Gardaí when you heard a domestic disturbance next door? And where do you draw the line in terms of, that's just a row, we all have rows, or, this is, a step above that? Claire, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Claire?
I'm good, thanks. And yourself?
Claire, your issue is if you heard things like "get off me," which is what Boris Johnson's partner allegedly said during the row, that would definitely be enough for you to call the Gardaí. It
would, yeah. To me, like saying something like "get off me," that would signify some type of physical, so that would cause concern. I think you can tell the difference with an argument. But if it sounded like it was getting physical, then yeah, I almost certainly would.
You most certainly would.
I would rather be wrong, yeah, I would rather be wrong.
And in fact, that was the point that Sienna was making, that wouldn't you rather be wrong than subsequently found out that, oh, geez, you should have called the police?
Most definitely. I'd rather be wrong and the police come out, see that there's no physicals and leave, than to not call them and wake up to an ambulance collecting a dead body.
And that's exactly what happened in the Boris Johnson case of the weekend. The police were called, they did arrive, they did talk to everybody, and they left happy in the knowledge that nobody was harmed and nothing was untoward, if you like.
And that's their job.
Yeah, I know that, but a lot of people have been saying over the weekend, you should not be sticking your nose into other people's business. We all have arguments.
But when it becomes physical, that's not sticking your nose in. That's
there was nobody saying that it was actually physical. They did hear somebody shouting, "Get off me!" Yeah,
that's physical.
And they heard a loud scream and banging from inside the flat. But like I said to you, Claire, we've all had rows where we've shouted things at each other that we're not proud of. But does that warrant calling the police?
I can't think of any other reason why you'd scream "get off me" unless they were touching you and you didn't want them to.
Yeah. Okay, so when you hear things like "get off me," that's enough for you to think, right, okay, something has to be done here.
Yeah, that's physical to me. "Get off me" is that they're touching them and they don't want to be touched. So whether that's restraining someone, which is you're not supposed to do, or whether that's physically attacking someone, either way, to me, that would cause concern.
All right, stay there for 1 second, Claire. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can also vote, by the way, on our Twitter poll, which is live right now, on our Twitter at Dublin Talks 98FM. And the question we're asking is, would you call the Gardaí if you heard your neighbours fighting? And here's the result as it stands now. It's even higher, actually. 53% of you saying no, you wouldn't. 47% saying yes, but 53% of you are saying no, you would not call the Gardaí. Does that surprise you, Claire, that 53% are basically saying they'd mind their own business?
It does. I'm shocked, actually. I'm wondering how many of that percent have actually read the article and actually know that she said "get off me," or whether they're just reading it. There was a row going on, because to me there's a big difference between a row and then when a row becomes physical. There's a huge difference there.
Mind you, when the police arrived, they found nothing untoward. They found everybody in the house happy as Larry, and they went about their business. So even though she may have used words like "get off me," she perhaps didn't mean it literally, if you know what I mean.
But then you can only go off what you hear, can't you? You can't assume that she's just saying that.
Okay, so it is up to... It is up to us to make that call.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. Do me a favour. Stay on the line there for 1 second, Claire, if you can, please. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. Blonded, I'm going to talk to you straight after the break. You believe calling the guards is the decent and right thing to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, stay with me. I'll be with you straight after the break.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98 FM.
In just a moment, I'm going to be talking to a guy whose neighbours are constantly fighting and abusing each other. We're going to try and find out what that person is doing, and we will be protecting this person's identity because this is an ongoing issue with neighbours. But before I go to Paul's call, Blonde, you believe that calling the Gardaí is the right and decent thing to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people think it's sticking your nose in where it's not wanted. Everybody has rows, and they don't often warrant the police being called, as was the case, by the way, with the Boris Johnson thing the other day, that the police did arrive, but found that there was no need for concern. Yeah,
but, would you rather be wrong and, call the guards, or would you rather be right and then figure out that, something awful has happened?
I do know that, the police or the Gardaí here will respond to a call about domestic abuse. But I should imagine that a lot of times when they arrive, they discover that there's nothing to see here, basically.
Yeah, no, I see that. But I mean, I just know that I'd rather be wrong, and ring. Because if it were me, if I were in that position, I would want somebody else to call the guards. Do you know what I mean?
In fact, I got a message a couple of moments ago, and this actually says it all, and we're trying to get in touch with this person here. But anyway, it says, I was in a domestic abuse relationship a few years ago, and I would have loved a neighbour to phone the guards when I was going through all this. He tried to drown me, smother me, bet me black and blue. Thankfully, I'm now out of that relationship, but yes, I would have loved a neighbour to phone the Gardaí. So my answer is yes, I would ring the Gardaí if I heard neighbours scream and smashing things. So the point being that this woman who sent me that message wishes somebody had called.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you are wrong, it goes to show, say if I were in that position, someone was, shouting at me, and then my neighbours rang the guards, it kind of goes to show that they care.
Or that they're nosy.
Safety. Do you know what I mean? Well, I wouldn't take it like that they're nosy. Because if they were nosy, they'd come in and bang the door down themselves, you know?
All right, stay there for 1 second. Okay, so you believe that it is a decent thing to do to call the Gardaí. Paul, like I mentioned a moment ago, we have disguised your voice because this is an ongoing issue with neighbours that you obviously don't want to identify them or yourself for that matter.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for that reason, we've disguised your voice. Now, Paul, you have had to call the guards 5 times on your neighbours. Describe the circumstances.
Okay, well, my neighbours are absolute, they're dealers and they're users as well.
Right.
But we have a heap of kids, and they are constantly, when I say constantly, every single weekend, especially on a Friday, because I don't know if they get their fix on a Friday or what way it works out, but they do be killing each other to the fight. They'll be breaking glasses over each other. They're out in the middle of the road and they're screaming all sorts of abuse, at 2:30, 3 o'clock at night. My kids are starting to get scared now, But to cut a long story short, it's been going on constantly really bad for the last year. So after much deliberation, I said it to the wife, and the wife said, well, look, the last time that we heard them arguing, we heard the kids scream. The kids were screaming in terror. The youngest is 10. And he was terrified. So I went to work during the week, and I was coming to deliberate. Now I said, no, I'm going to ring the social because I can't take the chance and letting happen to the kids. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if anything happened to kids. But to cut a long story short, a week or 2 later, they had found out that it was me that called the social welfare on them. And since then, my house has been targeted completely all the time. They've been throwing bricks, tiles, everything at my door. I've had to get a security camera put out on the road looking at me Jeep. It's just an absolute nightmare.
So what I'm hearing is you do what you think is the right thing and you call the Gardaí, and you are the one who ends up the worst off for it.
I end up the worst off. Now, it turns out that I'm not the only one that has called the social or the guards on them, and the kids were taken off them about 2 weeks ago, which is just, things have just escalated beyond you can even imagine. It's living next door to absolute hell nowadays. And
that's what it sounds like. Oh my God!
I've been in touch with the guards. There's nothing the guards can do. I said to the guards in the first place, how the hell did they get their hands on this phone call to start off with, like, because I thought when you ring up this stuff, it's all in confidence. And the guards were like, well, it's supposed to be all in confidence. But they were able to tell me exactly what I said on the phone to the people in social welfare.
Now, the social welfare thing is a slightly different thing in reporting them on social welfare, but in terms of calling the Gardaí to report domestic incidents next door, are you sorry or are you glad that you did it?
Well, I'm glad that I did it because I couldn't really listen to the kids screaming anymore. And you know, if I had to do it again, I'd do it again. But because I have done it, my life is now an absolute nightmare. I am getting so much backlash now over this. It's unbelievable. Like, I can't let the kids out in the front garden or the back garden anymore because they're just going to get pegged out with stuff like.
And I assume that the grief, the abuse you're getting is from both of them, not just from one of them, probably the whole lot.
Yeah, it's from the two of them. It's from him and her, you know. It's unbelievable. Like I said, I've had the guards up now 5 times. You know, they're in there killing each other, and then it's like they go out into the front garden or the back garden, and then they focus all their attention on me and my house.
Unbelievable. That sounds like an absolute nightmare. So what's the latest? What's the most recent thing to happen?
The most recent thing to happen was this weekend. They're inside now. I've called the guards now a few times, and the guards come up to them, but they're inside, and I don't know what they have, hammers or something like that, but they're smashing the wall on the inside of their house, like 11 or 12 o'clock at night time, so they wake up all my kids. Like, my kids are coming to me and saying, what's going on next door, what's going on there?
And so you're saying smashing the walls as part of a row, or are they just knocking down walls in their house?
No, they're smashing the walls deliberately to try and wake up my kids and wake up everybody in the house.
Oh my God.
Because they're up, like, they sleep all day because they're obviously out of their head at night time, and then at night time when they get out of their face, they're smashing all the walls to wake up all the kids.
This sounds like an absolute nightmare. I can see why we've disguised your voice. I can see why you don't want to be identified, because that just sounds like hell on earth.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And there's nothing, like, the guards can't do anything about it. Like they're saying to me to get on to the council and try and get the council to do something about them. But sure, I'm ringing the council, and the council are telling me that they're on some sort of a scheme that they can't get them out. Like, even other people across the road have rang up the council on them. They've rang up landlords on them. There's nothing that anyone they can't get them out of this house.
Right. And I know people listening will be thinking, God, the thoughts of living next door to that. And what about you? And I'm not saying that this is the answer, but would you be in a position to move?
Hopefully, I'd say before the end of the summer, I should be in a position to kind of move. But I didn't want to move.
No, of course not.
But
no.
Hopefully, you know, at the end of the summer, I should be kind of in a position that I should be able to kind of get out of there and just find somewhere else around the area, you know, that way. But I mean, it's going to be the same thing. If they find out where I moved, they're going to target me there again, because I'm getting the whole blame
for everything
on this. For everything on this. It's not just me.
See, unfortunately, Paul, your story highlights the risk involved in calling the guards, in sticking your nose in, basically. And
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's just like I do it again in the morning, but like the biggest kind of shock thing that I've had, and I've explained this to the guards, is that how were they able to hear the phone call that I put in privately and confidentially to the social services, the children's kind of place, and they were able to tell me exactly what it was and exactly what I said. And you know, I was saying to them that, you know, the kids should be taken out of this house. Like, it's a nightmare living next door, and you know, there's dealers and there's guys knocking down the door at, like, you know, 10 and 11 o'clock at night time, and like banging their door out, and they're not answering the door. Like,
unbelievable. All right, Paul, I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and I hope for your sake and your family's sake you manage to get out of there sooner rather than later. And like you said yourself, you don't want to have to move, but unfortunately for your own safety and your own mental well-being, it's something you might have to do. I appreciate your call, Paul. Ciara sent us a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, I absolutely do agree with interfering in that sense. My upstairs neighbours, I could hear them clearly. I could hear his fist meeting her face. she was screaming for help, and I tried to call the police, and unfortunately I couldn't get a hold of them. I then went and got in touch with the landlord, who told me there was nothing he could do about it, and that I had to get in touch with the police. So calling the police is the right thing to do. And sorry I can't come online, I'm working at the moment, but all I can say is that I remember wishing that somebody had have intervened when I was in an abusive relationship. So I was calling out for help and nobody was there, but I think it's the right thing to do, definitely.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Ciara. Now, Denise, I know you don't want to go into any specifics of what happened to you, but you yourself were a victim of domestic abuse. And did the neighbours try to intervene?
They did try to intervene, but then he kind of then got aggressive with them, and then they just backed off. As the other fella, I think it was Paul, as kind of like the same situation. They didn't want the hassle of it, but yeah, no, I wish someone could have intervened a little bit more.
But you're saying that they did try and they got the backlash for it?
Yeah, and then they just backed off, obviously, because they didn't want, because like it was a rough area and that, and then they didn't obviously want the backlash of like that bricks being thrown through the window, the hassle, their life being made of hell, so they kind of did back off.
Which is exactly what has happened to Paul. That's precisely what has happened to Paul and his family. In terms of what your neighbours would have been able to hear, would neighbours have known that what was going on inside your four walls wasn't good?
They would have known that it wasn't good. They wouldn't have known exactly what was happening, but they would have known that it wasn't good and that I was in danger.
But sadly, when one of them did call the guards, he went on a mad one and they never did it again, basically.
Yeah, and then that was it.
And you have to understand that, though, do you? Where somebody will back off.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. And, you know, like back then, I'm only kind of realising now that I'd be real. I wish someone had intervened more when they say love is blind, and it's easier for someone to say, why didn't you just walk away? It's so much harder when you're actually in that position, because you can't just walk away.
I know, but in your case, the people who did contact the guards did eventually walk away because they were afraid for themselves. You have to understand that, don't you?
Yeah, completely.
And how did you, again, without being too specific, how did you eventually manage to get out of that?
Thankfully, he went off with someone else, but like that, I tried to warn her what he'd done to me. She wasn't having a bar of it. She was saying I was jealous, and I was just trying to split them up. So I just left them to it, and obviously he done the exact same thing to her.
Sadly, happens all too often. And in fact, it's a conversation we've had before, whether or not you should tell somebody's new partner what he or she might have been like in the past. Some people, again, say, mind your own business, leave her to find out for herself. But you did what you could do. All right, Denise, I appreciate you talking to us. And again, I have to disguise our next caller's voice. You'll understand why in just a moment. And we're calling this man Patrick. Patrick, welcome to 98FM.
How are you doing? How's things?
Good, thank you. You yourself are a victim of domestic abuse in the past.
Yes.
And tell me your story.
Just a quick story would be that about 20 years ago, I was in an abusive relationship with my ex, and she used to hit, verbally, physically hit me, all that kind of stuff. And the neighbours called the guards one day, and when the guards came, I had a bloody nose, a thick lip, and when the guards came into the house, she did it. She was proud of doing it. And the guard just laughed and looked at me and told me to be a man and walk in.
Go away.
Yep. True. And I wasn't the first time. And I've heard that.
So the guards arrived, could see that there was a physical assault after taking place, and basically told you to man up.
Man up. Be a man. They laughed. The guard laughed, and he just said, be a man, and then he just left.
My God. And that happened several times?
It happened twice with the guard, but it was an ongoing sort of thing.
Where the guards just didn't take it seriously?
No.
And I know from discussing this that this is still an issue where, yes, the guards might arrive, but if it's a situation where they witness domestic abuse by a woman against a man, they seem not to take it as seriously.
No, it's like, you know, a man can take a punch or a slap or whatever, but a woman can't. And it's wrong. It's very wrong. It's very wrong. Like, that was 20 odd years ago.
And you'd like to think that things have improved somewhat in the intervening 20 years, but there's a part of me that thinks that it hasn't. And that's part of the reason that men don't speak out about domestic abuse as much as they should.
Yeah, and I would hazard to guess that it's going on more than people realise.
Absolutely, I agree with you. 100%. 100%. And I think that the men who are suffering domestic abuse because of this fear of being told to man up or snap out of it, get a grip of yourself, you dope, they are afraid of their lives to report it because they don't think that they will be taken seriously.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. 100%.
Wow. I assume everything's okay with you today, Patrick?
Oh, God, well out of that.
That's
18
good.
years ago, well over 18 years ago. Married again, no problem. Everybody's happy.
Did you ever find yourself ringing the guards yourself?
No.
It was always somebody else called the guards?
Yeah, I was too ashamed. Because, like, men don't get hit by you. So look other way. Too ashamed.
Right, it sounds... How long did this go on for?
For 4 years.
And in that 4 years...
There was no kids involved, thank God.
Thank God, it's right. But in that 4 years, it was shame that kind of kept you there. It was shame that stopped you reporting it. How bad was the abuse, Patrick?
Verbally, mentally, just drained me to beyond belief. And physically... I'd say about four or five times. Tick that black eye, bloody noses, come at me with a knife. Just things like that. I couldn't. If I was going for a pint after work, it'll be you're not going where I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't.
Oh, sorry, we've lost you there. Oh, we have. All right. Patrick, I really appreciate you sharing that story with us as well. And I have to say, it is fantastic facility that we have here with our voice disguise, that we can enable a call like that to tell a story that for many men is just too difficult to tell. In fact, he said he wasn't coming on to us in a million years without disguising his voice, because still, obviously, he has that shame. And the guards at that time, now I'd like to think things have improved somewhat, but the guards at that time basically belittled him for not being a man. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from somebody who says they used to pray as a child that someone would call the Gardaí.
Hi, I just wanted to send in. I was glad to hear this being discussed this morning. I think it's very, very present in the society at the moment as well. And yet lots, I think it has stopped. But we grew up in domestic violence as well. And we would have been praying as kids for the neighbours to ring the guards, but it would never have happened. And when guards are called out to these situations, often the victim of the physical abuse will say that everything is okay, out of fear of what might happen if they were to say that actually, yeah, we need help or we need support. So, but at least it raises, the awareness to the perpetrator of the abuse that, people are watching and people are not going to allow it to happen. They are going to raise concerns with the guards. I think surely we all know the difference between an argument and a domestic violent situation or that's on the borderline even. And leave it up to the guards to decide whether it's something that's serious or not. But it is actually now a form of child abuse, domestic violence. So we're actually obligated really to be informing the guards anyway and allowing them to assess the situation. That's not up to us. But it was great to hear it being aired. Thanks a million.
Thank you very much indeed for your message. And let me finally give you the results of our Dublin Talks Twitter poll, where we've been asking you Would you call the Gardaí if you heard your neighbours fighting, and where do you draw the line? And here's the final result of that poll. 53% of you said no. No, you would not call the Gardaí, and 47% of you said yes. Okay, 53% said no, 47% said yes. If you've been affected by any of the issues we've been talking about, the Women's Aid free phone number is 1800 341 900. That's 1800 341 900. And Amen is the group that helps men dealing with domestic abuse, and their number is 046 902 3718. You're listening to 98 FM. On the way in just a moment, we hear from a referee. Well, he's now an ex-referee who's just had enough of the abuse that he suffers whilst trying to ref a match. We'll find out his full story next.
98 FM's
Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less.
98 FM.
If you're somebody who's ever pitch side as a parent or as a coach at juvenile soccer, how much abuse do you see being hurled at referees? I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. The reason I mention this is because of a tweet that we spotted over the weekend from a man who's been on this programme before, telling this exact same story, but this time he's just had enough. He's hanging up his boots and no longer wants to be a soccer referee. Here's what his tweet said. Today, I had an under-13 soccer manager attempt to strike me while refereeing. After 4 years of abuse and violent threats, I've decided to call it quits. The FAI does not care about the safety and well-being of referees, and I no longer feel safe being involved in the game. Now, this is a young man, a 20-year-old called Harry McCann. He has spoken on this programme before about this sort of abuse, and he's been an official for nearly 5 years. Previously spoke about the toxic abuse he and other referees consistently suffer. And now, Harry, you've decided to call it quits.
Hi, Adrian. Yeah, I've just decided that enough's enough, to be honest. I just don't see any benefit to it anymore. I don't get any enjoyment out of it. And it just seems to be instant after instant. And they seem to get worse every time. And I just don't plan on waiting around to have somebody hit me hard enough to put me into a GP's office or into a hospital.
So tell me what happened over the weekend.
Fairly simple situation. The child got a smack when he went up for the ball. A hand flew out. He was fine. He was crying. It was about €1 for every time a child started to cry in a football pitch. Mm-hmm. So I'll be a rich man. And it was under 13s. So, the kid was there, had a chat. He was perfectly okay. And I go, wipe away the tears and we'll get on. And he goes, perfect. So anyway, runs up the sideline and someone comes onto the pitch and they go, this from the opposition, and goes, the kid's crying, he's hurt, this and that, and swears being thrown left, right and centre. Went back over to the child. He told me once again he was okay and he didn't need any attention. And I told that person to get off the pitch then, still cursing. Once again, off the pitch, still cursing. Eventually moves off the pitch. And then I was like, you're going to have to leave the ground. And at that time, the person took a step forward and went to strike me. So I made like a striking action, I suppose, and was like, what are you going to do about it? So I got my whistle, I blew it up, and I left. The last thing I was going to wait around was for somebody to actually hit me or to abuse me, and I just said I had enough.
And what was this guy's issue? Was it that you didn't take the player off the pitch? Was it that you didn't send another player off? What was his main issue?
His main issue was that apparently I hadn't looked after the welfare of the kids. He seemed to think the kid was crying and that the kid needed attention, and 100% the child was crying. But I refereed in the place regularly enough. I know most of the kids from seeing them all the time, and I knew that he was okay. He looked perfectly fine.
And you asked him specifically. You asked this child, "Are you okay? And do you want to continue with this match?" And this child clearly said yes.
Yeah, perfectly fine. He said he was okay. And to be honest, most of the time when a child gets a hit, they're just a bit shocked. there's nothing actually too wrong. And he was fine. It didn't seem to be dizzy. I looked him in the eyes. He looked perfectly okay. And I asked him, is he fine? Did he need a manager to come on? He said no. He told me he was perfectly okay. I asked him a second time, said he was fine again. And after the game had finished and they abandoned the game, I went up to him and his dad, and he told me he was perfectly okay, and he was more shocked by the situation than he was by anything else.
Now, obviously we're not naming names, not even naming the clubs involved here, but this particular person who squared up to you, almost hit you a dig, did he subsequently apologise? No, he seemed to think he was in the right. I don't know what goes through people's minds, but there was no apology. And at that stage, the threat of physical violence, or if you think the situation's getting out of control, you're told to call it up. And to be honest, I just wasn't going to give that person an opportunity to actually throw me a hit or throw me a box. So I said, look, enough is enough. And I left, and nobody apologised from that sideline. I went over to the other sideline, and they were all apologetic for the fact that they had to go through that, but nothing from the sideline with the player. Now, Harry, the saddest part of this story is that it's not like you haven't highlighted this before. We spoke to you earlier on in the year, highlighting how sick and tired you were of this. But sadly, speaking out like this by you and by other referees, by the way, did create a national debate at the time. You appeared on television. It really caused a conversation about the antics of people pitch side, not just managers, but parents, and just generally the abuse that somebody like yourself, refereeing young football, receives. Give me an idea of the sort of stuff you've put up with before this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I've had everything from people threatening to meet me in car parks to incredibly horrible comments, like stuff that you just wouldn't even repeat in person, never mind on the radio. I said people threatening to meet in car parks, people threatening to beat you up, kids saying stuff to you, parents saying stuff to you, people accusing you of being biased, people calling you cheats, people saying that you're not looking after the kids, and everything and anything really. As I said, if it was to be half of the stuff that I've been called on football pitches by parents of kids, you'd be shocked. And it's just constant. I think the violent threats are the most worrying of all, is the fact that they seem to be so normalised now. And as I said, I'm just not going to wait around for somebody to act upon them, because I do genuinely believe that, there has been referees assaulted in the past, and there'll be plenty more in the future, and I just don't want to be one of them. It's not worth it.
Now, one of the things you say in your tweet is that, and I quote, "The FAI do not care about the safety and well-being of referees, and I no longer feel safe being involved in the game." Now, the FAI have not issued any formal statement with regard to your social media tweets over the weekend, Harry. But you believe, and obviously having spoken out about it before, you believe that this is not being taken seriously?
No, I haven't seen any serious action taken in the last 4 years at all, and I don't believe that there has been enough done. I believe if they really wanted to do something, they could. The IRFU have introduced a zero tolerance policy in the past that works quite successfully on sidelines and on pitches, and I just think that the FAI just don't seem to. I've seen no idea. I've got no idea of what they've done, and I haven't seen anything that's said in the last 4 years, and I'm just not confident I'm going to see anything in the future. And that's just being honest. I just personally don't see it. I've given no reason to believe it. And I was just being completely honest. I said I'm hanging up my wisdom as such from this point of view, and I'm doing it because for that reason. I just don't see there's any action at all.
Can I ask you, in terms of what's in it for you, why have you refereed for the last 4 or 5 years? Obviously not to get rich, because there's not an awful lot of money in this. What made you do it? Why did you do it?
I love the sport. To be brutally honest, I just love football. Big football fan. I'd watch Liverpool every weekend. I'd watch League of Ireland football. I'd watch anything really. And it's enjoyable. They're short of referees. If I don't turn up, the kids don't get a game. And at the end of the day, if I'm free on a Saturday, there's nothing better to do than run around and take part in the sport. It isn't to get rich. It's €30 a game. I have a job. I work. I don't need the money. It's purely just pure enjoyment and love for the game, and it's just no longer there anymore. It's just more hassle and stress, and it ruins your weekend at this rate rather than actually enjoying it. So
Well, stay there for 1 second. I just want to play a... by the way, if you want to get involved in this, call us very quickly on 6797981. Have a listen, if you will, please, Harry, to this WhatsApp voice note from
I always
Adam.
played football for years, and since I'm a kid up until now, I've seen a lot of referees in my time, and 90% of the time, they're absolutely brutal. They have no control over a game, and they just try to make it all about themselves. You know, if there's a tackle, and obviously if there's a tackle, and you're gonna get a reaction from the other sideline, but they just 90% of the time they go at the other sideline. They just cause trouble rather than taking care of it.
So he's basically saying, Harry, some refs bring it on themselves.
Yeah, and look, I understand his point, but like my point to that is that no matter how bad the referee is, there is no excuse, there is no job in any walk of life that you'd violently threaten somebody or you threaten somebody for doing a bad job. I just said, even if you think the referee is the worst person in the world, nobody goes out there to be biased or to cheat or to do a bad job. At the end of the day, nobody deserves to be threatened, to have a punch or to be met in a car park just because they've done something wrong. You know, if you went in and I don't know, the deli person made your roll wrong, would you threaten to meet them out in the car park after the... I don't think you would, and I just think it's crazy that it's acceptable, and it's kids' sports, it's not competitive. So no matter how bad the referee is, I think we just need to look at our actual anger issues and the problems that we have, and I think that's an acceptable way to react.
OK, now let me just bring in one final call, and that's you, Carl. You're on 98FM. How are you, Carl?
How's it going, Adrian? I just think it's the type of people that are involved or into football, because you wouldn't see something like this at, say, a rugby match for kids or camogie or anything like that. I just think it's the type of people that are drawn to it, to be honest.
The type of people that are drawn towards soccer?
That's it. To some type of...
Well, I do know it, because I've been there. I do know it at the pitch side of Gaelic matches. You can have some fairly vocal people standing at the side of the pitch. Do you, Harry, just to wrap this up, do you think this is a soccer-only thing, or is this happening in other sports?
I think it happens in other sports. I'm not involved in other sports, so I can't comment. But I just think that it is something that is happening in all kids' sports, but particularly soccer, due to the lack of action. I think that's the biggest reason why it's so prominent, is just the lack of action.
Well, as somebody who appreciates the work that referees do, Harry, it's sad to see you have to hang up your boots. I assume, regardless of what the FAI might say in response to your tweets over the weekend, you've just had enough now, and that's it, is it?
Yeah, they won't respond. I'd be very surprised. I couldn't see them doing. There's nothing in the past to suggest that they will. So they'll probably just leave it, and if it continues to get worse and worse and worse, then we'll be talking again about it in a couple of weeks' time, about a referee in the hospital or something even worse. I hope not, but I just feel like that's the way it's going.
It's very sad to hear. All right, Harry McCann, thanks very much indeed for talking to us again. And yes, there's a young man, he's only 20, he's volunteered, about 30 quid a game, it's hardly an awful lot, but and he's gone now. He just can't take it anymore. James wrote this to me. He says, I've played football most of my life, and the refereeing is a joke in football. I'm playing baseball now, and the umpires get no back talk. You just take it on the knuckles, says James. All right, thanks very much indeed for all of your calls. This is 98FM. 98. Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98FM's Dublin Talks. And Trish is here with Monday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. A man is due to appear in court after a man was shot dead in Darndale last month. 22-year-old Jordan Davis was killed on May 22nd as he walked with his son on Marigold Road. The average prices of a 3-bed semi in the city has fallen by more than €1,000 over the past 3 months. According to a new REA survey, the asking price is now €433,000. That's down 2.2% on the same period last year. Parents are now spending an average of €929 on their child's communion day. Children received €617 this year. That's up 10%, with almost a quarter receiving more than €800. And one of the Irish contestants in Love Island could find themselves out of the villa in tonight's episode. A recoupling of The Boys' Choice will take place later, with both Maura and Yuande vulnerable. And now you're up to date on 98.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
It is Monday morning, the start of yet another week, with beautiful sunny weather, splitting the stones and... Oh no, sorry, this isn't a taped show. It's a live show and it's absolutely miserable out today. Anyway, good morning. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. And this man that has been blown in by the wind and the rain is our Jeremy.
You know what we should do? We should get a printout of a picture from the Caribbean. You know one of these pictures off Google, yeah?
Yeah.
So Google image a picture of the Caribbean, print it out in big, huge paper and just stick it on the back of the window here at the studio. And every time you look out, you'll see palm trees and like sunsets and sand and stuff like that.
That's a great idea.
Because we're looking out at a window here, just at Stephen's Green, at the back of our studio here. And I have to say, there's a house just at the back of us and they have a balcony and normally they put their clothes out to dry. I haven't seen their clothes out all year.
It's Monday, it's time for this.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Life Hack Monday.
Life Hack Monday is where we ask you to share with us some little tip that you have for making life that little bit simpler. All we want you to do is text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98 and you could win yourself passes for IMC Cinemas right now.
If it's a good hack.
It's a good hack, yeah. So a life hack basically is that little tip to make life that little bit easier for the rest of us. Okay, something you've come across, something that perhaps you thought was an old wives' tale, but it actually works. And Jeremy has a wonderful life hack to get us going
today. I've a few actually for you, and I want you to make a note of these because these are gold. So, met a friend of mine over the weekend who owns a chipper shop. Mm-hmm. Is it a chipper shop or just a chipper?
A chipper shop, yeah.
And he loves this part of the show, Life Hacks, and he gave me some gems for you. So I want you all to pay attention to this because this is great stuff, okay? Here's a couple of chipper hacks, okay? Because everybody loves a chipper.
Yep.
Yeah? You go to a chipper once a week. Okay, so here's your first one. Supposing you want to go to the chipper and get something, but you don't want to buy the chips, okay? You don't want to pay for a single of chips because you're not that hungry. You know, so you want a batter burger and chips, but you're never going to finish the whole bag of chips.
No, so you like just a couple of chips.
You like a couple of chips. So, according to my friend, and if you're listening, Antonio, I told you I'd do this for you. Here is his tip. When you go to the chipper, just order a burger or fish and don't order any chips with it. Okay?
Okay, so you walk in, you say, can I have a smoked cod?
A smoked cod. And he said that 90% of chippers will give you a scoop of chips in the bag, even if you don't ask for them. They just throw them in as a
thank you.
I tried this, by the way, it works. I'll come to that in a second. So, if you know you're not going to be able for a full single of chips, you go into your chipper and you say, what do you want? What do you want? Nobody says?
In his Italian accent,
what do you want? And you say, can I have a double quarter pounder with cheese and bacon? You want a chips with that? And you say, no chips. He will put a big scoop of chips into the bag and you get chips for free.
What a brilliant idea. I'll try it later.
Well, I know I did try it and it actually works. So I went into my chipper on Saturday evening and ordered for herself. I ordered her a quarter pounder, ordered myself a spice burger. And again, your man behind the counter, do you want the chips? And I said, no chips. And what did he do, Adrian? Scooped 2 scoops of chips into the bag. FOC, free of charge. Now, the other chipper hack that I have for you is a great one as well.
Oh, by the way, our telephone number is 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98 with your life hack, that little tip to make life a little bit easier for the rest of us. And we have a pair of cinema passes for IMC Cinemas to give away right now. So get on to us straight away with your Monday life hack. Now, the other chipper chip.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than getting a bag of chips. And everybody likes salt and vinegar on their chips.
Well, not everybody, but yeah, go on.
Most people like salt and vinegar on their chips. The problem with that is the only chips that ever have salt and vinegar on them are the top layer of chips in the chip bag.
And then the ones down the bottom of the bag as well.
The chips in the middle of the chip bag, no, they're mouldy. They're dry. There's no taste off them at all. So, I hear you asking me, Jeremy, how do I get salt and vinegar evenly spread over my chipper chips? Well, I have the answer to you according to Antonio. Antonio says when you go into a chipper, you ask for a split bag of chips. You ask him to split the bag.
Right.
Okay? And what that means is he'll put the chips into the bag and he'll rip down the side of the bag and put salt and vinegar on them from the side as opposed to from the top. Thus, evenly covering every single chip with an equal amount of salt and vinegar. So it's called splitting the bag of chips. That's what it's called.
Okay, so I go in, I ask for a bag of chips and I ask them to split the bag.
You split the bag, and what you do is he'll rip open the bag and put salt and vinegar on it from the side, and happy days. Because there's nothing worse. The top layer chips are gorgeous, salt and vinegar. Then you get to the mouldy middle, tasteless. Then you get to the bottom,
and they're swamped in
vinegar. So it pretty much evenly it evens it all out.
Okay, we'd like to hear from you with your life hack right now. Call us on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice note with your little life hack. And by the way, it doesn't have to be to do with chippers. To 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Now, somebody just on your chipper thing.
Yes.
Years ago, chippers used to always put a scoop of chips in on top. Nowadays, not a load of chippers do. Most of them do a half bag of chips now, so they don't have to give you a scoop. So in other words, if you want a half a bag, you can have a half a bag.
I don't know anywhere that does a half a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Half a single?
Yeah. So that's their excuse now for not giving you away a free scoop of chips.
Well, Antonio says 90% of chippers will give you the free scoop, so there you go. If he says it must be true, so...
All right, call us right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. We want to hear your life hacks, your little tips for making life that little bit easier. And as I said, it doesn't have to be to do with chippers. It can be absolutely anything. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98 with your little life hack.
Here's a text from Yvonne. I don't know how true this is. Now, this is about baths. She says, I have a life hack. There's nothing worse than your bath going cold very quick. You know, when you put the water into the bath, by the time you hop into the bath, it's cold. The trick to keeping your bath hot for longer is add cold water first, then the hot water. Your bath will stay longer for 50% of the time.
Why is that? Or how is that?
I don't know how that works.
Surely if you put the same proportion of hot and cold water, it's going to stay... No?
I don't know. So fill up your bath with cold water first, then add the hot water, and your bath will stay hotter for longer.
Who knew?
But I didn't know. Yvonne's after telling me. If anybody knows, have you tried that before? Does it actually work? I don't know.
And we don't have a bath anymore. We got rid of our bath. I haven't had a bath in years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, notice.
Anyway, yes, call us right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. We want to hear about your little life hacks. Those little things that make life that little bit easier for all of us. Now, hang on there for one moment. Here is a WhatsApp message. If you're eating curry and it drips on your white T-shirt, get hairspray and spray it on and you won't get a stain. Is this after the event? So you have a big curry stain on your white top.
I'm going to look that up while you're reading it out, okay?
Apparently, when you drip a bit of curry on it, and it happens. In fact, I saw it happen to somebody the other day. James, if you're listening, he was going out for a night out, yeah? He arrives all dolled up with his lovely white shirt. Within seconds, he had a curry stain on his shirt. He had to run off home and get changed and come back again. Anyway, if you're eating curry and it drips on your white T-shirt, get hairspray and spray it on so you don't get a stain, says that message.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up. I can confirm hairspray removes... I didn't know this. Hairspray removes most stains from clothes, including ink and curry sauce and coffee as well.
Okay. Lads, says this message, to get rid of those little fruit flies in your house, put some vinegar in a glass, put cling film over the top and pierce the cling film, leave it in the area for a day or two and the flies will get trapped in the glass. Works great, says Jonathan. I hate those little fruit flies. Hate them.
Another one from Coleman, who can't come on air. Quick one, lads. Anyone with small kids that gets travel sickness in the car, is that still a thing?
Of course it is, yeah.
Okay. Why would you get sick in the car?
Because of the movement.
Okay. Anybody that has small kids and gets travel sickness in the car, loads of newspaper under where they sit in the car, believe it or not, it works. So it actually stops them from getting sick, or it mops up the sick?
I don't know.
I presume it stops them. Coleman, if you can get back to us and be more specific about that, does it stop them getting sick or does it mop up the sick? Let us know.
Shane, you have a little life hack for us, which is... Hello, Shane? Oh. You there, Shane? No, he's not there. You there, Shane?
Yeah.
Oh, wakey there, Shane. Good man. Thanks very much.
Sorry, signal's pretty bad here.
Sorry about that. Okay. Now, Shane, what is your little life hack?
Well, I found out that, like, if you ever have problems with any companies, like any internet providers or phone networks, if you go onto their Facebook and make a complaint in the post, they'll be on to fix it straight away.
Oh, so if you make your complaint in a public forum, basically?
Yeah, they'll be straight away to fix it because it's all about their public relations, so...
Yeah, no, I do know if you put up a post on, say, a tweet, and you tag a company and it's a complaint about that company, they will be onto you like a light.
Like a light, yeah.
Yeah, and it does work. It does work.
Yeah.
Does it not depend on how many followers you have?
I think it's anything that you just can't really afford bad press like that. So...
I take it you made a complaint about your mobile phone signal, did you? Because
yeah.
Who's your provider?
Well, I was there and they were really bad, and just like anytime I put them on the phone or on the live chat.
Jeez, I don't know how you contacted anybody. It is appalling in this day and age that your signal. Where are you, Shane?
I'm actually up the Dublin Mountain, so that's fair.
Up the
There's no excuse. That's the highest bloody point.
There should be perfect signal.
Perfect signal.
I know, yeah. I can see the map. Like, so I don't know why it's bad.
Why are you up the Dublin Mountains on a Monday morning?
I'm going to visit my parents with folks.
On the top of the Dublin Mountains?
Yeah, they live up here, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
People do live there.
Okay.
Anyway, yes, so basically to get attention, because it's so frustrating to be left on hold for 20 minutes trying to get in touch with somebody, to get attention from a company providing you with a service and they're not answering their phone or whatever, put it on Twitter or put it on Facebook and make sure they're tagged in.
I'm doing it now on Shane's behalf. So who's your mobile phone provider now? You left there. Who is it? No, that's what I'm going to put in the tweet. We're talking to Shane and all we can hear is...
Yeah, exactly.
That is atrocious. It really is. All right, Shane, good to talk to you. Anyway, yes, so his tip is put your post publicly and they will react to it. Grania, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Grania.
How you doing? Hello.
Now, Grania, we were talking about, it sounds like the wonders of hairspray, because this has come up in the programme before, about hairspray. And hairspray works on chewing gum as well.
Yeah, it happened to me last year, my 30th birthday, and I had this fabulous dress that I loved. And I must have sat on chewing gum when I was outside the pub, and I woke up next morning and it was all over the dress, and I was just devastated. So I just was frantically Googling like how to get rid of it, and the hairspray thing came up, so I tried it, and it works, and the dress is like as good as new. So
now, was it because you left the tags on the dress and you were bringing it back the next day?
No, not at all. I still have it.
No, because some people actually do that.
Yeah, it probably would work actually, but no, I kept it now because I really loved it. I was first time wearing it, so I was really upset. But and it was everywhere. It just had stuck on all the back of the dress. And I spent about an hour just spraying it, and then what it does is it hardens the gum, and it makes it easy to pull off.
And where are people sticking gum that you're ending up with it on your head?
It was some nightclub on Bagot Street, and I was just sitting on the little ledge outside, and I don't know.
And there's the old chewing gum.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Why can people not just bin chewing gum?
Like, I've never ever been able to understand the mentality of somebody who just spits chewing gum out on the footpath. I just can't get my head around it.
Actually, just wrapping up in a bit of paper before you put it in the bin so it doesn't stick to the bin.
Yeah, I mean, that's
makes sense.
Fairly straightforward, really.
Yeah.
All right, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed, Grania. Now, here's one we've gotten in before, but I'm going to read it again. I'm not sure if it came in from this same person, but we had it on Life Hack Monday a couple of weeks ago.
Give it to me, yes.
This is from Carl. It's a great hack for travelling. Especially if you're travelling with the families. There's a whole gang of you going off on holidays to Spain or to Orlando or wherever it is you're going, yeah? Instead of buying loads of different foreign plug adapters, buy one and then bring an extension lead.
Oh, yeah,
not an extension lead, a plug board.
Yeah, is that common now?
It's a great idea. It really is. So you just bring a plug board and one adapter, and then everyone can plug their stuff into just the 4-plug plug board. It's very clever.
Walking through an airport with an adapter in your bag, though, it's a bit stupid.
You put it in your suitcase.
A big adapter?
Yeah.
No.
Now, where am I going? Who's on line 3 there, Rachel? Oh, sorry, nobody. Is there somebody on line 3? Hello? No. There's nobody on line 3. All right, 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. Just listening to the guy about making a complaint on Facebook or on Twitter, I found when I had a complaint and customer services would not listen or entertain me at all, and even went as far as being cocky and rude, I found out who their CEO was. And then look them up on LinkedIn and mail them directly.
We've had that happen to us. That's going too far, isn't it?
But somebody wanted a complaint and they went to the boss instead
Remember
of us.
Remember that about you? Somebody made a complaint about Adrian, to the boss, who probably doesn't even know that Adrian works for him. That's going too far.
But anyway, according to this, looked him up on LinkedIn and mailed the CEO directly. Not only did I get a reply, I got it all sorted within 2 days.
So if I have a complaint with Ryanair, I should contact Michael O'Leary directly. Is that what that person's saying?
Yeah.
Find Michael on LinkedIn.
I doubt Michael's going to reply to you. But yeah, with some companies they may do. Carmel, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Carmel.
How you doing? How are you?
Carmel, what is your life hack?
Mosquito bites.
Oh, I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah, well, they love me.
Oh, yeah, they love me as well. They absolutely savage me out when I go on holidays. But anyway.
No, toothpaste.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've done it. I've worked because I used to get it that bad that I'd actually have to go and get, in latter years I used to just bring the penicillin with me, to save me the bother of going to the doctor.
Well, now, anytime I go on holidays, I have to take a course of antihistamines before I go because I get absolutely eaten alive.
They're attracted to oily skin, is it? Is it a certain type of skin?
Well, they say it's the dairy in the diet. I don't know, but that's what people have said. It's dairy.
Yeah, but I've been with groups of people, and we're sitting in the exact same spot of the exact same beach or wherever we are, and I'm the one who gets bitten and nobody else does.
Oh yeah, I'm like a magnet for them.
Yeah,
but lads, I think the days. You remember years ago when you were a kid, Margaret or Carmel, and you'd go to Spain, you'd get mosquito bites. People don't get mosquito bites in Spain anymore.
Yes, they do.
No, Spain and the Canaries don't have them either.
Yeah, they're literally mosquitoes are gone from the Canaries.
Yeah, they're really gone, and an awful lot of it I'd say is to do with the hygiene as well. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think this is all to do with global warming. You look as well,
Probably.
Carmel. Do you remember when you were? Remember 10 years ago? Yeah. During the summer months when you were driving your car from A to B. So supposing you got in your car, Carmen, you drove it from Dundrum to Swords, yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you'd get out of your car, your windscreen and the front grille on your car would be covered with midgets, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw a midget on your windscreen?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Where are they gone? Where are the midgets gone?
Yeah.
Well, my car only 2 weeks ago was covered head to toe after a drive to Cork and back.
Were you driving via the Amazon or something?
On the M8 or whatever down to Cork, and the car was covered, honestly.
Oh, you haven't had it covered?
It definitely works because I tried it, and actually I got the tip from somebody in the States in Michigan.
So you treat the bites with toothpaste?
You know when you say you come home after a day in the sun, you say, oh, I'm after getting 4 bites or whatever, and especially anywhere where there's grass, is lethal. So what you do is just get the toothpaste. Well, you're going to shower or whatever to get the sand or whatever off you, and then just put the toothpaste directly onto the bite. Try not to break the skin if you can help it. Don't scratch them. If you can help it, don't scratch it, but don't break the skin.
And the great thing about it is as well, the mosquitoes end up with really white teeth afterwards as well.
I know, that's the thing. I know.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Carmel. Here's a life hack about spiders from Ross.
The tip I found for getting rid of spiders is because, in August, autumn time, they tend to come in and they're everywhere. Now, me being hugely arachnophobic, look this up. They hate lemons. Anything to do with lemons, citrus. So any kind of citric smelling aftershave and just squeezing lemons, lemon juice, anything like that around your room, you won't see them.
And Steve has a theory as to why, allegedly, Spain has no more mosquitoes.
It's not alleged. They just don't. The mosquitoes are gone from the Canaries in Spain. Disappeared.
Okay, let's have a listen to Steve WhatsApp voice note.
Lads, I have a house in Spain, and the whole reason why there's no mosquitoes is because they spray all the lakes around this time in the middle of April, the county councils. So, and plus it hasn't been that hot, so give it a chance. They'll be there.
Yep, they'll be there. Jeremy reckons they've just left.
They did. Eugene tweeted us, Adrian, and he said, I drive for a living, lads, and what Jeremy says is right. I drive an Arctic lorry. 10 years ago, driving for 5 minutes, my windscreen will be covered in midgets and mosquitoes, as well as the grill at the front of the truck. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Well, it did happen to me only 3 weeks ago going down to Cork and back. We went down and back in the one day. The car was absolutely covered in them.
Maybe they just like your make a car.
And finally, Claire. Claire ended up really sick after bites in Spain.
Guys, hi Jeremy. I was in Spain just there a few weeks ago. Got absolutely savaged by mosquitoes, and because I'm allergic to the bite, I ended up in the hospital and on antibiotics and had to get injections of antihistamines, etc. So they are still very much in Spain. Okay, great show, guys. Bye.
They are. She ended up in hospital.
I'm not buying it. If they are there, they're in smaller numbers.
Maybe so.
Okay.
All right, thanks very much indeed for all of your life hacks. This is 98FM. I'm Adrian Kennedy. Now, next on the programme, here is a debate that is very prevalent at this time of the year. And I have a question for you. Have you bought a present for your child's teacher this year? Well, we got an email from a listener who thinks that presents for teachers has become ridiculously over the top. I want you to have a listen to what Ciara had to say and then get involved in our conversation on 6797981. This is something that's become more and more ridiculous over the past few years, and now it's at a point I feel I need to say something. I have 3 young children, 2 of whom are still in primary school, and my youngest will start next year. When my eldest started, it was normal to get something small for the teacher at the end of the year, a set of bad things or a box of chocolates or a homemade card. However, it seems like this is no longer good enough. I brought in a box of chocolates for my eldest girl's teacher on Friday, and I was giving them to her. I noticed a heap of pricey presents on her table. Jo Malone candles, expensive jewellery, Chanel perfume, and vouchers for spas and beauty salons that I wouldn't even go to because they're so pricey. The kicker was that one mum told me she liked the teacher so much she bought her a voucher for a weekend away in a hotel down the country. It made me feel like my little box of chocolates was completely worthless. I feel like parents are using this whole presents business as a competition and almost a way to bribe the teacher into being nicer to their kid. I just can't afford to be forking out loads of money at the end of every term for my kids' teachers. It's become so ridiculous and unfair that now I want to send a letter to the principal to see if a price cap can be put on presents. Is it as crazy as this in other schools? Am I right to send a letter, or am I being scabby? And that's from a lady called Ciara. And I would love to hear from you on 6797981. That's what Ciara had to say. Is she being scabby? Or is she dead right? Maybe in your child's school it's done differently. Or are you somebody who believes after working their butts off for the whole year, educating our children, they need a nice present? Call me right now on 6797981.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, it's that time of year again where school's out for summer. If they're not already on holidays, they will be very, very soon. And walk into any newsagent that sells greeting cards or birthday cards, and you will see a stand of teacher cards. Of thank you teacher cards, which have become a thing. It's nearly a new Hallmark day. There was a time where at the end, particularly in primary school, because obviously in primary you have the same teacher for the whole year. Secondary is a little bit different. You have a load of different teachers. But when did giving teachers a gift become a thing? Because Ciara's a pain in her face with this. She says, I bought a box of chocolates. Anyway, she bought a box of chocolates and she was made to feel insignificant because one mum said she liked the teacher so much she bought her a voucher for a weekend away in a hotel down the country. Yeah, she did. Now, the reality of it is that mother could have actually won that at a night out or something like that and just pawned it off on the teacher. But I want to find out how it is dealt with in your child's school. Are you expected to give a gift? Is there enough pressure now that parents think, Okay, I'll have to get them something nice. Call me right now on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. Angela, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thank you. You're saying that some parents have really gone over the top.
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Because let's say I'm a childminder, right? And I know a family who gave €250 Dundrum vouchers to 3 different teachers.
250 quid each?
Yes.
And
at the end of the year.
Right.
And
are these particularly brilliant teachers, or...?
No, just like at Easter, they give them 100. Christmas, they give them 100. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm telling you, that is as true as I am standing here.
Okay, so this lady, Ciara, who found herself, she had, a box of chocolates, discovered that one of the parents had given a weekend away down the country, which doesn't come cheap in this country, and she felt so insignificant with her little box of chocolates.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute disgrace, because I know what this school does, which I think is a brilliant idea, is because they have this rule that you have to invite every child to parties, right? So what they do is at the start of the year, each parent brings in 50 quid, it's handed in, and then, let's say it's given to the kids for their birthday. So each child gets 50 quid. So my whole thing is, why can't they do that with the teachers? Why do they all have to go overboard? Why can't they turn around and say bottle of wine, box of chocolates, candle, something like that? One present under a certain
When
price.
did it ever... I was trying to think of when I was younger. That's what I was about to say. When did this start becoming a thing, that you give gifts to teachers at the end of term?
I don't know. I never gave... I know for certain we never gave... We never even gave cards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I really don't know when all of this started, because it's just gotten ridiculous. One of my best friends as well, she's a Montessori teacher, and the amount of stuff that she gets at the end of the year and at Christmas is unbelievable. Like if you have 20 kids and they're all giving you, it's some amount of money, and then you get the people who feel inferior to that because they can't afford to do that much, and they can't afford, to fork out. And it shouldn't be that. As I said, they should put a cap in it.
Yeah, and like I said, over the last number of years, it has definitely become a thing, to the point that you walk into any newsagents that sells greeting cards, and you'll see a stand this week with teacher cards there on the stand as soon as you walk in.
And the kids should be made to make a card for the teacher. Make a card. There you go. There's a piece of paper. Do it.
All right, stay there for 1 second. Manita, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Manita.
Oh, hi, Jeremy.
This is Adrian, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
And Manita,
I'm sorry. I'm sick at home. So.
Oh, that's okay. Now, tell me what you wanted to say.
No, I wanted to say exactly what I mentioned. Is like, you see other parents goes over the top with, big, nice thing like carrot and duns or vouchers and stuff. And I don't think it's fair on other parents who maybe can afford that much.
And that's exactly what the lady who sent us in the message said.
After, then you're worried because you feel like your kid won't be looked after in the next class, or what if they put at the back of the class because of the presents or whatever. And I don't think that's right. And I've seen on one of the comments, it says that the school has no present policy. I think that's a great idea. Or maybe give...
in your child's school, you're saying that some of the parents have gone over the top.
Yeah, I've seen it. Now, I don't know how over the top they go. Nobody came and said what they give in fairness. But I know, and I've seen, or like my kid will come home and will say, like say, for example, Christmas time, I give I give chocolates. I buy a nice box of chocolates and I give to the teacher and to the principal. And then my kid will come and say, oh, such and such gave, this big gift, this wrapped, or this bag. And I'm like, oh, I gave only chocolates, and then you feel like, whoops.
Right, so that's exactly the situation that Ciara is in, that she brought a box of chocolates only to find out that another one of the parents brought a like Chanel perfume or a weekend away down the country, and she felt crap.
Of course you will. Of course. I can feel how she's feeling. Of course you'll feel crap. You know, it's like, but the problem is not about yourself, it's about the kid. Is like, you know, the kid comes and tells you other kids are giving this, and maybe why we are not giving the same thing as well. You know, because the kid sees what kids sees, they say, and what they say, they think like it's the normal, and why is them, not doing the same thing as well? So it's that pressure and the guilt of like, oh, well, of course you can explain to your kid that, you know, you can give whatever and it depends. But still, you know, they're 6, 7 years old kids.
Okay, so you think that... now, I know some schools have different policies on this, but you believe that this is desperately unfair on parents who can't afford a more elaborate sort of gift. Now, I know teachers will say they don't expect it.
I know.
And the majority of teachers don't expect it.
Same goes for the school. I have to say, in fairness, nobody said, oh, you have to bring gifts, you know, you have to bring... But it's just kind of a common thing to do. So you have to go with the flow, you know. They could say, yeah, do not or not, but then there'll always be somebody who will give. And then you're like, oh, well, if somebody is giving, then everybody has to give. You know, I think it's about the parents more about...
Yeah, more than the teachers, yeah. All right, stay there for 1 second, Manita. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Sarah, who's basically saying in her job, they're not allowed to accept gifts.
Sorry I can't come on, but in relation to teachers getting presents, it's almost similar like benefit in kind. In the place I work with, it's not a school, but if we get presents from clients or anything at Christmas time, we're not actually able to keep them. We have to put them give them to HRSA, and they raffle them off between everybody on the team in the office. This is also just in case people don't actually meet people on a day-to-day basis, so wouldn't have necessarily face-to-face interactions with clients, so it makes it fair for everybody. Love the show. Thank you.
Although a teacher is a teacher, really, they all have interaction with kids, I suppose. But then is that fair on other staff who might work in the school, who do equally as important a job in the school, but may not have that face-to-face interaction with kids? Call me right now on 6797981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about gifting for parents, or for teachers, should I say, at this time of year, and whether or not it's become the expected norm. We're back in a second.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.
And this is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, we're talking about a message that we got from Ciara, and this is an issue for a lot of parents at this time of year. School's almost out for summer. If your kids are in primary, they've perhaps another day or 2 or 3 or 4 to go, and then that's it, they're done. But a lot of people find themselves now under a little bit of pressure to buy presents and cards and everything else for the teacher at the end of the year. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Greg.
You know, the parents should be able to give whatever presents they want to give. You know, the teachers work hard all year to mind your children. So whatever you can afford, you can give. My girlfriend's a primary school teacher, and she wouldn't ever come home and say, oh, I only got a box of chocolates, oh, I only got a bottle of wine. Whatever you can afford, you can. If you want, whatever you want to give, you want to give.
Okay. Does anybody think this should be stopped? This practice of gifting to teachers at the end of term should be stopped? It's gone ridiculous. And literally parents are outbidding each other trying to get nicer and nicer presents. Alma is in City West. You're on 98FM, Alma. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Well, Alma, how's it done in your child's school?
My son is in 6th class. He's finishing this week. The whole class basically put in a £5, and we get the teacher one big present.
And who actually collects the £5?
One of the mums collected, and she basically she done on WhatsApp and put up a picture yesterday of the present she got the teacher and all, and it's really nice. So instead of getting 20 boxes of chocolates or...
Yeah, well, in fact, we were talking to somebody earlier on who last year got 15 Yankee candles Enough already. How many Yankee candles does a house need?
I know. That's what we do anyway. So we only have to save the hassle of everyone trying to figure out something, and it's a £5.
And is this an annual thing? Well, obviously your child has finished this year, but has it been an annual thing, a £5 every year?
He kind of was never really into it. He didn't like bringing in something for the teacher. Now, it wouldn't have been anything big. It would have been just a small box of milk tray or something. But now I have a little boy who's finishing play school on Wednesday. But the teacher he's has had all my kids for 10 years. So I got her a nice present.
All right, and this is the last of your children that this particular lady is going to be minding?
Yes, she had all 3 of them, and I'm finished with them on Wednesday, so I got her, spent a little bit more and got her a decent present.
Right, but that was more for having looked after all of your kids?
All the kids. She had all of them, yeah.
Yeah. All right, but then that's reasonable, I suppose. But I was thinking to myself, when did this whole buying presents for teachers thing become a thing?
I don't know, everyone just started doing it, and then all the kids, anyone that didn't come with a present felt bad, so I think now parents don't want their kids to feel bad, so they all buy something.
And that's exactly what Ciara was saying, that it's become ridiculous.
Yeah, and the kids will feel bad. Even though the teacher doesn't get them, they will say, I didn't get it for the teacher, and they'll get upset about it.
Yeah, I know.
It's not coming from the teachers, because I don't think they...
No, well, obviously the teachers aren't saying, I want that present.
Yeah.
But I agree, it has come from parents, but it's becoming worse and worse, to the point that some parents are now starting to be made to feel bad for not getting a nicer present than a box of chocolates. But I love the way you do it in your school. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So one of the parents collects a £5 from each parent, and with that you can buy a halfway decent gift.
Yeah, and that's it. Cuts out everything.
Great plan. Jean, you're on 98FM. Jean, how are you?
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thanks, Jean. Well, you have 3 boys, and it says on my screen here, between them, you give 9 gifts.
Yeah, I do indeed.
Good God.
My youngest lad is 10, and there's an SNA in his class, so I give a little gift to the SNA as well as his own teacher, and also to the caretaker.
And does the SNA work with your child? I assume so.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, it's just an SNA that works with other kids?
Yeah, she works with other kids, but just rather than her being left out, for me personally, Adrian, I only spent about maybe €8, so it wouldn't be. I'm not breaking the bank.
Right, so what sort of things are you getting for €8?
Well, mostly, I actually get them a bottle of wine in Lidl's. I do go to the teacher and I say, okay, what's your preference, red or white? And in fairness, they say, oh, I don't want anything. I said, well, I'm going to get you one anyhow, so you can choose. So they would say to me whichever one that they would prefer themselves. But that's what I tend to buy, a bottle of wine just in Lidl. So, and then my oldest lad is in secondary school. This year is his first year, and the year head suggested if they all collected maybe a £5 each, they could buy their class tutor a little gift. So my son did the collection, and he got his teacher a Shamrock Rovers signed jersey and a €150 voucher for the Shamrock Rovers shop.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Does the lollipop lady or the lollipop man get anything?
They do if your kid is crossing with the lollipop lady, but I actually go to a drop zone, so I don't go past the lollipop lady.
But there is one at the school?
Yes, there is, yeah.
And that person, male or female, could expect to get gifts as well?
Yeah. Now, as I said already...
So where does this stop?
I don't... Listen, even the sports instructors are getting presents when they break up for the summer. Now, not personally from me, but I've seen people going up to football coaches or karate coaches, and they give a little gift at the end of the...
My God. I mean, for years we've talked about the expense of kids going back to school, and now I'm hearing about the expense of kids just finishing up for the summer holidays.
It is getting ridiculous, but I'm one of these parents that I would not go over the top. And like that last person there speaking, when my son finished in 6th class, they did a collection and they got a gift voucher for the teacher, and then she was able to buy for herself.
And what about if you're not overly mad about your child's teacher? Do you still give them a present?
Well, I don't like my 10-year-old's teacher at the moment, but yes, I will. I'll give her something on Friday.
See, that doesn't make sense to me now. And because I've known parents to have individual or different issues with different teachers and still give them a present. That makes no sense to me at all.
Well, I don't personally like his teacher, but he loves her.
Oh, well then, I suppose, yeah.
That's different, yeah. But my third lad that I have is in a special needs school, and I send in 5 gifts to that school. Now, again, as I said, it's only probably around €8, but we buy for the bus driver, the escort on the bus, the nurse in the school, the SNA in his class, and his teacher.
My God almighty. This is getting ridiculous now.
It's good. You feel good afterwards. They did, like, especially in the special needs school, Adrian, they do such a great job with all those kids. But it's nice to give something small back.
All right, stay there for 1 second if you can, please. 6797981 is our telephone number. John sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
I can't understand why everybody's getting their knickers in a twist. If parents want to buy a teacher a Rolls Royce or a box of chocolates, that's up to them. They can buy whoever they want, whatever they want. I don't see what the problem is. That's just my opinion.
Okay, the problem is that other people are made to feel mean or stingy when they see, as happened to Ciara, she arrived with a box of chocolates and some other parent had given the teacher a weekend away. And you feel like mean, basically. Here's another John with another voice note.
Hi, Adrian. I don't believe that teachers should be given gifts, especially elaborate ones, because I believe that some of the teachers may then treat the child of that adult more preferential in the knowledge, knowing that the child will go back and give good reports about her or himself or whichever sex or gender the teacher is, and therefore then the parent would probably go out of the way to spend more money to get a better present next year, and maybe that's what the teacher is looking for. It's my opinion. Maybe not the right one, but check it out.
All right, John, thanks very much indeed. And one final WhatsApp voice note from Meg.
Hi, 98FM. I hope you're all keeping well. Just listening in about getting teachers gifts. So I am a newly qualified secondary school teacher and was lucky enough to get a lot of gifts this year. And while I understand it is expensive for some parents, a lot of my gifts that I got this year from kids in 2nd and 3rd year were homemade cards and just little tokens of appreciation for all the work that you do. A lot of teachers go above and beyond the 9 to 4 just being in the classroom, and at the end of the day could end up seeing people's kids more than they do Monday to Friday. And I just think it's nice to feel appreciated at the end of the year. While it's not expected, it's nice to show your gratitude. So thank you.
And just back to John's message there a moment ago where he's saying some parents might do this to get a little bit of favouritism for their child. We had this conversation in our office earlier on before the programme, and one person at our meeting this morning said, yes, I buy nice presents for the teacher, hoping they'll look at my child more favourably. Seriously. Shane is in Ballyfermot. How are you, Shane?
Not too bad, how are you?
Good, thanks, Shane. Shane, your wife actually does some homemade presents.
Yeah, she does all the frames, and she does all the family trees and stuff like that for teachers, and all that. So she actually says like a personal touch.
Right.
The teacher's name or her family's names or her family tree and that, like. So I just think it's better, like, to get the kids involved as well with helping them at home. Like, it's a business that she has in the house, like, but loads of parents use her to make the frames for the teachers as presents.
And like, what did you say? It's all family tree stuff and all that?
Yeah, like, you know, like, say your name, like your second name and wife's name and your kids' names.
Oh, right, the history of your name.
No, like, it's family. It's a tree, yeah, with just your immediate family on it.
But how would she find out the teacher's family and all that?
The kids, like the teacher. My wife would get the phone number of the teacher, and she'd know her first name, second name. She'd know our kids' names. And then put them up on the tree for parents. Like.
All right, very good. And do they like that as a gift?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, it's great. And there's other stuff. Like, she does all other stuff for the teachers. Like, it's like my best teacher and, you know, my first day at school and stuff like that. It's great for kids, especially for the helpers in the class. But there's loads of helpers. People have to understand. And there's also student teachers in there that are doing it. That have to work for free.
Yes, I agree. And I know. And I'm not saying it's not nice that they get recognised, but when you hear people, like, I'm about to go to. We had a call there a second ago. It's like 15 presents this year. Like, what? Seriously, enough already.
Well, there was 28 kids in my youngest class, and not every single child.
All right, stay there for 1 second, Shane. Let me have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note from Laura.
Hi, 98FM. Just a quick voice note regarding the teacher's presence. I have 2 small kids, so I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. And between the 2 classes, it's 6 gifts I have to give in. So 6 cards and 6 little presents. There, with the senior side, I am throwing in money into a card as well, because my little boy, like, the SNAs are his, so I feel like he doesn't have to, but he has them all year round, so he has to give those a little thank you card and a little small box of chocolates, and then they do a money collection divided between the 2 SNAs because they job share, and the teacher. And then my little girl's class, she has the teacher and the SNA, and then the little boys resource time for that teacher as well. So yeah, 6 of them. So it does add up. But I wouldn't go extreme. It's literally cards, and more of it, like, he'll write the card himself and he'll put thought into it, and just a little gesture, a little small box of chocolates.
All right, Laura, thanks very much. The one thing that Laura said there a couple of times was has to. And that's the way it's gotten now, that you have to. You're expected. Now, obviously, it's not from the teachers. This is pressure parents are putting on themselves. Let me squeeze in one last call, and that's you, Elaine. You're on 98FM. How are you?
Hiya, how are you doing, lads?
You don't know what the problem is here.
No, like I just think that some parents are putting pressure on themselves. Like, just live within your means. Like,
I know, but when you arrive with an €8 box of chocolates and some other parent has given a €100 bottle of perfume, it makes you feel fairly small.
Not really. Like, my daughter's teacher at Christmas got quite large gifts, but I didn't feel inferior for that. You just live within your means and you get on with it.
When did this become a thing, though? When I was a kid, it certainly wasn't a thing that you gave presents to your teachers every year. It just wasn't.
Well, I'm in my late 20s and it's always kind of been there, so
sometime in between when you were young and I was young, basically.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know. It's just some parents go above and beyond. Now, I know I bought quite a number of gifts, for a couple of gifts for my daughter's teacher, but she went above and beyond for her. She was struggling in school. And I met with the teacher numerous times throughout the year. She literally put some amount of work
and took her under her wing, basically.
Yeah, and literally just she's on par with the other children now in her class. So I have to say thank you for that, because she's put
because she did go above and beyond. Yeah,
she really did, and she's an absolute lady. She's teaching them manners, to be respectful. She doesn't tolerate bullying. Like, she's just amazing. She's quite young. Like, maybe that makes a difference as well, but she's amazing.
She's brilliant. All right, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I get that when somebody goes above and beyond. Let me just read a couple of messages before we wrap this up. Lads, giving a teacher a present at the end of the year is equivalent to clapping the pilot when he lands the plane. Why are you giving someone elaborate rewards to do their job? I believe they should be thanked verbally because they're providing a service, but if you're insisting on a gift, a $5 is more than enough, says that message. And there was one more message I'm trying to find here. And basically said, teachers, watch your back because there are tax implications of accepting gifts. Now, I know that is and has been highlighted as an issue in some schools, that you need to alert the tax authorities if you're getting a present. And finally, in my daughter's creche, she had one main teacher and helpers then, so all the gifts got raffled off unless it was personalised. All right, thank you very much indeed for all of your calls, comments, texts and opinions. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks. We're back again tomorrow morning at 10. If you've something you want to discuss on tomorrow's programme, send me an email right now to dublintalks@98fm.com. Have a great Monday. I'll talk to you at 10 in the morning. Barry Dunn is on the way. In the next hour, he's got some great music lined up like these.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Des Kelly Interiors. For all the latest trends in carpets, vinyls and wood flooring. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality flooring costs less. 98FM.